Courtney Gail Morris, Malcolm Moss.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Courtney Gail Morris, Malcolm Moss.
Hi, this is Kimberly. Welcome to my channel. Please step into our parlor. If you're new here, we're studying the trial of Chris McNabb and Cortney Bell from Covington, Georgia. The palsy-wowsy, thick as thieves, buddy-buddy, very close first cousins who decided they were going to make their own kind of family. So they shacked up together and had 2 children, Clarissa, 2 years old at the period of time this trial covers, and 15-day-old Kalia, who was born 2 weeks premature. If you've not been following along, we've been peering into the lives of not only those on trial, Chris and Courtney, but the whole damn assortment of people in their storybook life. Friends, relatives, many of them play multiple roles and have a myriad of titles. And this is only a minuscule portion of their lives that we've watched in the courtroom and a few news stories. I just can't look away. I think I will do a bit more digging into this case when we're finished with the trial. I have a few things that I found and I just want to dig a bit further and do another couple of videos after I'm done with the trial. I see y'all rolling your eyes. When the end is coming up very soon. The date of today's testimony we're about to view is Monday, May 13th, 2019. This is part 2 of day 5. And yes, I know and I understand that this trial does not appeal to everyone. I'll be done with it very soon when, eventually I will have gotten it out of my system, I promise. I didn't get to watch this very much when it first came live back in, of course, May 2019. And I've wanted to watch it. So I figured since I was going to watch it, I might as well do some videos. And a few of you have latched on and have been following along too. So I want to kind of finish it up in a more timely manner than I've been doing because I know some of you didn't watch ahead. You've been watching it along with me. I just find this case absolutely fascinating. No kidding. I am serious as a damn heart attack. But I know others of you are of the opinion of no, I'll pass. So I don't demand that you like what I like. I just ask that you be patient with me, as you have done. No one's been impatient with me, I must say. You all are so sweet and understanding with me. So just continue that, being patient, and post your druthers of what you would like to see, and I will make efforts to get down to business and do some of the things that you enjoy as well. Can't promise I can do all, because I can't keep up with even what I want to do. I have so many notes and so many video plans, and it's frustrating that I can't get to all of them. It really is. This is my life now. I don't move fast like I used to. I think I wore whatever that is that gets you going. I wore it out. What is it they say? My get up and go done got up and went and just running top speed, and then you wear out eventually. If you're not kind to your body, it's going to revolt. Promise me. I promise you, be kind to yourself. It's very, very important. Anyway, I have gotten off track once again. Me and my damn ramblings and yammerings and all. I forget what I usually call it. See, forgetfulness too is one of those things. And as I was saying, I will get this trial out of my system eventually. And to answer a couple of questions, no, I have not forgotten about our little boy Blue. I think about him all the time, little Gannon G-Man Stauch. And I know the anniversary came up and it's just, I couldn't do anything. My heart, it would break in two, and I don't want to do that in person on my channel. Have my heart break in front of all of y'all, you've already seen it a little bit, but I want to be able to concentrate fully on Gannon. And I can't do that while I'm doing this trial because I'm immersed in that right now. It's just too confusing for me to go back and forth, honestly. But following the McNabb and Bell case, some of you may find this weird, but it was just kind of something I was doing for myself. And I'm glad that some of you liked it and have come along for the ride with me. Actually, I'm delighted. I know it's obvious that I've not been doing it for views. My views have dropped off, but sometimes you know how I always say, do you? Well, I needed to take my own advice, and I was like, I'm going to do me, or I try to do me, and then I ask everybody if it's okay. You're not supposed to do that. You're just supposed to do it and be confident and go forward and say, I'm doing this for me, damn it. And I know you're bored out of your fucking mind with this, so let's move on, shall we? Enough of that. Enough of that. I know y'all want to hear all that crap, but yes, I am coming back to G-Man, and I know her trial will be coming up fairly soon. I've not followed all of it, but yeah, I have seen a few things, and I tell you that the neighbor that knew Gannon and Alan, piece of shit. And it was because Gannon and her son were best buddies. That's how she knew them. He was over at her house all the time. The show that I'm speaking about, it really shocked me. I will link it in the description below. It is jaw-dropping. You have to go see it. And thank you to my listener that alerted me to it and left a link in one of the comments. Thank you for that. You know who you are. Thank you so much. If you guys have not seen it, go to, well, I am going to link it, but it's at this site, Wicked Truths and F-Bombs, and it's probably been about a month ago now, a very, very good expose on Albert, which he's not always been my favorite. We'll get to him, okay? I think some of y'all picked up on some of what I felt, but I'm going to get back to that villainous step monster, step maladjustment, step malign, step maniacal, step morbid, step moron, piece of shit grouch. Just let me finish up with this case, and there's just so much I want to do with Gannon and that case. There's just not enough time and enough hours in the day to do the stuff I want to do on here and in real life while dealing with what I was given, my lot in life, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean. We all have it. But back to what we were talking about, the subject matter of this here video that I'm about to shut the fuck up and play for you. This is the trial of Chris McNabb and Cortney Bell, the first cousins that on October 7th, 2017, ran around the outside of their mobile home trailer in their underwear trying to remember where they put their newborn baby, checking under the porches, checking under the trailer. In their underwear, they didn't care who saw him or what. And then finally he got dressed and ran off to look for her in the woods. Because yeah, that would be the second place I would look, is the woods. While Cortney called 911 to report the baby as missing. And then the trailer began to be tossed. They checked every tote 2 or 3 times. Cortney had it in her head. They were both high. They were both high on meth, and Cortney had it in her head that the baby was in one of the totes. Bless her heart. If you know what I mean. I do have compassion. No matter... I don't know, I won't say no matter what, no, but I do have compassion for most people. I'll put it that way. I can look past sometimes some of the things. No, let's say instead of looking past, I can separate it. God, I can't talk or think today. Why are y'all letting me on here? Recording and shit. I don't know. We'll get to it. I will talk fully about how I feel this thing went when the case is over with. You guys know that I'll do that. But yeah, they were trying to remember where they put their newborn baby, 2-week-old Kalia Claire McNabb. In addition, they do have an older daughter named Clarissa, 2 years old, and she was upset as well and kept screaming baby. You can hear her saying baby every time Cortney would scream Kalia, like a 2-week-old, is going to answer. But I actually read in one of the comments, though, that it was fine that Courtney was calling out the baby's name because even a newborn can recognize their mother's voice, of course, and maybe they'll start crying. So yeah, it does make sense now in that respect. The next day, October 8th, 2017, 15-day-old Kalia was found deceased in the woods next to the trailer park in which Chris Courtney and the children resided. The two parents have been painstakingly painted by prosecutors as negligent parents, which I agree, in a volatile off-and-on relationship, who did hard drugs and brought seedy people around their children. Today, we have the much-anticipated testimony of Beau Alexander. He's the Newton County, Georgia DA's office special investigator. He's the final witness for the state. And I like his name, Beau. I wonder if he got picked on because of it. You know how cruel kids are. Of course he did. I think every child has had their name, whether it be first, last, or initials. Some smart alecky kid will morph it and twist it into something else. It happened to me, and I had a seemingly boring last name. Thank God my initials didn't spell out anything like ass or dumb. When naming my 3 children, not only did I go with names that I liked, I did discard a few if they made certain initials that spelled out something that just untoward, I guess you would say. But yeah, I did go through every possible scenario of grade school name related torture that my children may face, and I don't think any of them did, thank goodness. Maybe a little bit. But Beau's job for the DA's office is rather complicated and involved. But in short, he gathers and analyzes crime-related physical evidence, and one of the fun things he gets to do is pick apart the forensics of Facebook chatter. And he's on the stand quite a long time, and he handles it very well. Beau's testimony to me was quite captivating. Therefore, as usual, I did my cutting out of the long breaks and pauses so it just flows consistently without interruption. Because Miss Zahn apparently had printouts of all of the Facebook Messenger evidence. And if you will look behind them when they show the back view of the courtroom, you will see a cart that is stacked and stacked with papers and folders and boxes of it is just unreal. But yes, and she was sorting those, and she took long breaks to sort them and shuffle them and then staple, and not just a regular way of stapling. You know, she's one of those people, you don't have to pound the stapler, but she's a stapler pounder. Stapler pounder. Yeah, whatever. But fuck that shit. I cut that shit out of the video. It was distracting, intrusive. She would ask Beau a question and then start shuffling and pounding the stapler. Fuck out of here with that. So I was editing to make the video all smooth and shit, you know, like I do, because when they are offering up this kind of testimony, you don't want to wait for them to publish something. That's another thing I cut the hell out of the video. Not all of it, just some of it. Or, you know, do their loud paper shuffling and then, Judge, may I publish? And he'll say, you may. And her damn stapling, as I said, was all aggressive and shit. And then, Judge, I would like to submit such and such. And I think they had this little to and fro banner that they do. And I caught on to the fact that they really enjoy all that pomp and circumstance. But I say, have at it. I'm just going to cut it out of my video, okay? But they deserve all the pomp and circumstance bullshit and the may I publish and you may and blah, blah, blah and sustained and I object. I don't cut out the objections because they're good, but they have all this stuff that they do And I'm not saying I cut all of that out. I didn't, because it's part of the proceeding. It's just the extracurricular activities going on in the middle of testimony that gets me. They deserve it for finishing law school and passing the bar exam. That's big. I do admire them for that. But all that stuff they do is just a little rich from where I'm sitting. I'm casual. I don't really like formalities. But there's so much I wanted to talk about in this video, and I've made notes, and I'll do it in another video, but damn it, I'm tired. In hindsight, I could have talked about it had I left all this other bullshit out. I hope y'all made sense of this shit. Just ignore everything I've said and watch the video. Yeah, do that. 'Cause I've been all ADD bullshit the last few days, and I'm adjusting to a new medicine, and when I'm not zooming around the house, I'm sleeping hard. Now, bear in mind, my zooming is significantly different than, say, your zooming, or say Courtney and Chris's zooming. So let's get this shit rolling, shall we? If you made it through today's intro, I love you. Please raise your hand so I can recognize you in the comments. Please enjoy today's episode 26 of As the Mobile Home Park Wheels Turn. Much love and peace. Thank you for listening.
You have the key to this case, and that you know that Chris McNabb was awake during a time when he was supposed to be asleep. Is that right?
Yeah. No, I told Beau Alexander.
All right, told Beau Alexander this
Yes, I
a
did.
couple weeks after she was arrested. All right, did you tell the investigator Jeff Alexander that?
Nope.
You're saying that at 7:41, you knew that child was missing.
No, he sent me a message at 7:41 and said that he was wigging and tripping and needed to get out there for a little while. I said, well, you need to get Courtney's ass up and y'all need to find the baby. That's what I said.
And asked for a mistrial. The jury is getting absolutely confused about who's charged with what.
How do you make a statement like that?
Well,
they
okay.
haven't shown any confusion at all to the court.
All right. Mr. Frost, I have no idea what he's doing. Because we know it's not reliable. We know nothing is going on. But Mr. Frost got up for it
Stop
whatsoever.
for a second. You're getting excited. I want you to slow down.
Been really clear what Mr. Carter's objection is, except it's not fair that the state's trying to prove its case.
The environment they're in, the conditions they're in, the people they hang around with, all of that damns them both. I deny your motion. Everybody may be seated. You may call your next witness.
State calls Beau Alexander. Truth and nothing but the true self you got?
Yes.
Thank you. Please introduce yourselves to the members of the jury.
Investigator Beau Alexander.
Where are you employed?
I'm employed at the Newton County District Attorney's Office.
Since when?
Been here 3 years.
Okay, and before that, where were you employed?
Prior, I was at the Newton County Sheriff's Office. I worked everything from the jail to patrol to narcotics when I finally left investigations in the Special Investigations Unit.
How many years total do you have in law enforcement?
18.
And of those 18 years, did you spend a good amount of years or a fair amount of years working specifically drug cases?
Yes.
And in what capacity? Can you explain at the Sheriff's Office what positions you held where you worked drug cases?
I was working in the Special Investigations Unit, which it handles all types of crimes, any type of crime, felony, misdemeanor, but it also tries to really deal with a lot of the narcotics that happen in and out of this county. So for several years, that's my primary job function was.
And did you also work alongside the DEA on occasions?
Yes, I did. And I also spent some time as a task force officer. I worked with ICE, with immigration, and that's also where I worked narcotics cases.
Okay. And so over the years, has that then, those opportunities provided you with knowledge of how the drug game works in Newton County and who some of the players are?
Yes.
Are you familiar, for example, with Anderson Circle?
Yes.
Have you been out there a number of times?
Yes, I have.
And what is it known for?
Meth, wanted people, stolen items.
With respect to Shane Kidd, have you known him for a number of years?
Yes, I have.
Do you know a person named Chance Griffin?
Yes.
What do they refer to him as?
Cheese.
Do you know and have you had the opportunity to be involved in investigations involving Pam Hamby?
Yes.
Have you been out to her house before?
Yes.
So the names that have popped up in this case are those people that you were kind of familiar with before you began working on this case specifically at the DA's office.
Yes.
At some point in time, did Shane Kidd, now explain that a little bit to the members of the jury, because we just heard him testify about being a criminal, you know, of sorts. I mean, he smokes methamphetamine, he's been convicted of crimes. Do you have the occasion to communicate with these people sometimes, like via text message or phone calls?
Sure.
And why would Shane Kidd communicate with you?
Well, there's all kinds of reasons. I mean, you know, that's the thing too, working basically in law enforcement for 18 years in this, I'd say in this county, say my first several years working in the jail, as a detention officer, inmate services, special response team, as a supervisor, even as a pod officer. Oftentimes, I mean, you basically are in jail. As an employee, you're in jail. You live with these people, you know these people. Most of these people, I can hear cough behind me and I can tell you who it was. You know, so I'd say after, say, somewhere around 18 years, 15 years, a lot of these folks, I mean, I've probably seen them come and go. I know their families. And, you know, oftentimes, it's the thing that a lot of times makes it easier, I guess, for some people to go out to a call. And we've all heard it, seen it maybe, that some people on the street, some people in jail, they might deal with a certain officer or officers easier than they would someone they don't know, have no clue who they are, don't like their attitude, whatever it may be. So oftentimes there's folks that I still see on the street that would talk to me just like they would in the jail, or talk to me because I have dealt with their families.
Is Shane Kidd one of those people?
Absolutely.
Generally speaking, even though you live very opposite lives, do you have a good rapport with Shane Kidd?
Yes.
And did he at some point in time in 2018 reach out to you and share that he had information about this case?
Yes.
And did he relay to you about text messages that he had received from the defendant McNabb on the morning that baby Kalia went missing?
Yes.
And you were in the courtroom when he testified earlier. Is that generally the nature of what he had relayed to you at that time?
Yes.
Now, as an investigator on this case at the DA's office, did you go with myself and the Sandy Springs officer, Gary Morgan, out to Eagle Point in November of 2017 to map out the scene?
Yes.
And have you then become familiar with the trailer, the pathway that leads to Henderson Mill, and that general area on 36?
Yes.
Are you already familiar with that area on 36 and Henderson Mill Road?
Yes, I am.
Are you familiar, and from your law enforcement experience, have you had the occasion to frequently go in and out of that trailer park for other reasons, just in your past experience?
Yes.
In fact, you adopted a dog from that trailer park.
I did. I have a Chiweenie from there.
Okay. So, in your experience in law enforcement, are you familiar with the term like a cut?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Like a cut through, oftentimes a shortcut or off the beaten path way through.
Are there a lot of popular cut-throughs that come to your mind here in the county where individuals might leave a residence or leave a location through the woods to get to another location?
Yes.
And I'm talking more specifically about high crime areas. Could you give me an example of a couple of those?
Say, for instance, Salem Road, Salem Glen Apartments to Plum Orchard. There's a trail that usually if we have problems over there, we say, hey, get someone on the other end also, because they're usually somebody's going to try to escape the area or flee through one of those areas. And there's several all over the county. Most of our high crime areas, I would say, definitely have them.
Have you had the occasion to pursue individuals down those cuts through the county?
Yes.
And this particular path that we've heard about that leads from the mobile home park to Henderson Mill, were you aware of that before as a popular cut through for criminal activity?
No.
Did you have the occasion to walk through that path with myself and with investigator Gary Morgan in November of 2017?
Yes.
And were you able to get the GPS coordinates that were provided by investigator Mickey Kitchens from the locations of where baby Kalia's body was found and where the camouflage jacket and items underneath the jacket were found?
Yes.
And were you able to use those GPS coordinates of latitude and longitude and determine what the distance was between those two locations?
Yes, I was.
What is that distance?
It was actually 112 feet between the two distance, and that's just as straight as you can get between the 2 points, which roughly it came out to 37 yards.
And to be clear, were you on the jury view that we took one day last week?
Yes, I was.
And were you, again, pinpointing the exact GPS locations on that date to ensure that the distance that you measured was the two locations that the jury was shown with respect to the items found and where the child was found in the hole?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you also measure the distance between the location where Chris McNabb is alleged to have jumped out of the vehicle with Pam Hamby and Lauren Mackey and baby Jeremiah at the marathon to where he was arrested at the Chevron on 36?
Yes.
And again, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 88. This has already been admitted into evidence. Did you actually prepare these maps or work on getting these maps made for trial as an exhibit?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and so have you had the occasion to measure the distance between that Marathon gas station and the Chevron gas
Yes.
station?
Yes.
How far is that?
1.8 miles
And that would be traveling down which road?
down Highway 36, Georgia 36.
I'm showing you State's Exhibit number 61. Do you recognize State 61?
Yes.
How do you recognize it?
It's a map I had prepared. Basically, it shows the close-up of of 36, Highway 36, Flat Shoals, and primarily Henderson Mill Road, where it branches. But I wanted to show where 36 and Henderson Mill branched off at the time.
Okay, and does this fairly and accurately depict not only those roads, but also the locations that are relevant in this investigation?
That's correct.
Your Honor, I offer State's Exhibit 61 into evidence.
Admit without objection.
With the GPS locations.
Okay, and that was what I was going to ask you. These numbers that are here pointing to where the items were found and where the body of baby Kalia was found, are those the latitude and longitude numbers of the exact locations?
That is correct.
And then where you've got residents marked here on the map, can you tell the members of the jury what that is?
Yes, that's the lot 31. I wanted to make sure everything was pretty identifiable.
Now, when Mr. McNabb told investigators that he traveled on the morning that his baby was found missing down this pathway and then made a right down the Henderson Mill Road to his friend's address down there, are you familiar with who that person was he said he went to?
Yes.
Who was that?
Skittles.
And who was Skittles?
I think her name's Sarah. I can roughly recall it.
Okay. Is that a good distance down Henderson Mill Road?
Yes.
Have you driven that before?
Yes, I've been there.
Okay. Is that even depicted here on this map?
No, I don't believe it's on that map.
Okay. Now, as part of your work on the investigation in this case, did you have the occasion to hear the name Matt Lester?
Yes.
And were you present at the jail when myself and Assistant District Attorney Alex Stone spoke with Matt Lester at the jail?
Yes.
And after hearing his account of what occurred inside of the trailer at the residence of Mr. McNabb and Miss Bell, was our office able to locate a sheriff's office report corresponding with that information or that date?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the Newton County Sheriff's Office incident reports? Are you familiar with Newton County Sheriff's Office
Yes.
incident reports? I'm going to show you this report, and can you tell the members of the jury if you know exactly what day it was that Matthew Lester was attacked or beaten?
September 13th, 2017.
Okay. Now, as part of your further investigation into this case, did you execute several search warrants for social media records?
Yes, I did.
And can you briefly describe to the members of the jury that process is, how do you get Facebook records from the Facebook organization or company?
We have a way of logging on for basically like a law enforcement portal on Facebook. There's a series of security I guess, a security process that you go through to be able to access that. Basically, what you do then is you provide Facebook with the account information that you're looking for, and then we basically then wait for them to verify that. You know, they'll send us verification, and then they actually send us the records, or they tell us there is no record.
Okay. So, are you familiar with the term of preservation request?
Yes.
Can you tell the members of the jury what that is?
Oftentimes, well, I try to do it every single time. If I am going to look for a social media account or look to retrieve that data, I'm going to automatically try to immediately, as fast as I can, send in a preservation request, which is going to preserve that account right then and there at that time. So even if a day or two later or 30 minutes later, a subject deletes the account, everything prior to that delete, it's already there, and there is no deleting it at that point in time.
Would it be fair to say that Facebook essentially takes a snapshot the minute they receive the preservation request of those records, and then if in fact you have a valid search warrant that's signed by a judge, then they will release those records to you from the point that you requested them with the preservation request?
That's correct.
But if somebody had gone into their Facebook account prior to you sending in a preservation request and had deleted, let's say it's my account, and I want to delete instant messages in my account, or I want to take off Facebook posts that I've made, and you don't preserve my account until 2 weeks later, would anything that I had deleted be available for you to view in the records return?
No.
Now, in this particular case, did you execute a search warrant for an account by the name of Jordan Headcrack Izzo?
Yes.
I believe these records have previously been tendered into evidence as State's Exhibit number 72. Did you also execute a search warrant for records pertaining to Courtney Morris?
Yes, I did.
Did you also execute a search warrant for records pertaining to another account, or actually multiple other accounts that were Mr. McNabb's accounts?
Yes.
Was one of those Jordan Headcrack Izzy, I-Z-Z-I?
Yes.
Headcrack spelled with a K this time instead of a C?
Yes.
Showing both parties State's Exhibit number 74. Your Honor, at this time I would tender State 74 into evidence. It's got a certificate of authenticity of the records from Facebook.
Submit without objection.
Did you also execute a search warrant for records for Mr. McNabb called something like White Boy
Ghostin' Sevens.
or YC? So there were
YC.
several other accounts besides these two.
Yes.
Okay. But let's talk about the Jordan Headcrack Izzo accounts. I believe you talked earlier about messages that Mr. Kidd had shared with you, that he had. Did you look and were you able to find those messages where Shane Kidd says that he was communicated to in some way by the defendant at 7:41 a.m.?
Yes.
You were able to find those?
No, I was not able to find those.
Okay. But the ones that we read earlier with Mr. Kidd on the stand, were those present in this account?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell the members of the jury, when these Facebook records come to us, or law enforcement, they have a date and time, and then it has next to it UTC. Can you tell the members of the jury what that means?
Yes, it's one of the time zones. We use Eastern Standard, Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So that's just another one of the time zones.
And does that stand actually for universal time?
Yes.
And so, without getting too specific, if you're prior to daylight savings time, so it changes in the fall, right?
Yes.
Late October, early November. Prior to that date and time, how many hours do you have to count back from UTC time to get to Eastern Standard Time?
4 hours.
And if you're after that date and time, say January, December, then how many hours do you have to count back from UTC time?
It's going to be 5 hours back.
So whenever we're looking at a record and it says for example, 1628 military time, that translates over to what time?
4:28.
And so in order to count back 4 hours, and that would actually be what?
12:28?
Okay, and is that how you have to calculate the dates and times?
Yes.
And if a record says then October the 8th at, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning, would that mean that it was really sent on October the 7th or received
Yes.
at like 10 o'clock at night?
Yes.
Okay. So here we have records here on page 149. Did Cortney Bell have a Facebook account called Cortney, CORTNEYYLOVE, Cortney Lovey?
Yes.
Did she also have multiple Facebook accounts?
Yes.
Was one of those Courtney Stays High?
Yes.
Courtney Loves Chris?
Yes.
On October the 3rd, I'm on page 151 of the records, on October the 3rd of 2017, was Cortney Bell trying to get in touch with McNabb to find out where he was and to get him to come home?
Yes.
All right, starting here with this message that I've got showed. The other thing about Facebook records, do they go backwards in time? In other words, do you have to read them from the top down, or do they go chronologically from the bottom up?
From the bottom up.
Okay. So this first message here that's on page 151 is Courtney sending a message to Jordan Headcrack Izzo. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what is she saying?
Saying where you are, IDC, you can walk down the road and Mama will get you, Daddy. I love you. I need to see you.
Okay. Now, what does IDC mean? Does that mean I don't care?
Yes. Wherever you are, I don't care.
Okay. And does she commonly refer to him as Daddy?
Yes.
Okay. And then is she pleading with him again? And again, what time would these be?
Well, it's showing here on the 3rd at 14:04, so going back 4 hours, look at 12:04.
Okay. So 14:04 military time is 2:04, so going back would be like 10:04 in the morning?
Yes, 10:04.
Okay. And then she's saying to him, what? Is that in focus there?
There we go.
Yeah.
Says, you're breaking my fucking heart, Daddy.
And then on, again, that same date, is she asking him his location, and is he eventually providing where he's at?
Yes.
And where is that?
At Woodlawn Road.
And is that at an address that Shane, Kidd, and she, and the defendant were going to frequently during this period of time?
Yes.
What is the YWA Daddy message? Does YW, do you see that message?
No, it's blocked. There we go.
Okay.
Where you at? Where you at?
Underneath that?
Basically, say it's from Jordan Izzo. Let's see. Go up just a little bit. All right. So there was probably some sort of photo sent. Courtney's showing a bunch of question marks, and then that's where Courtney's saying, you know, WTF, what the fuck is thumbs up? And that was in response to some prior speaking that they had had.
Okay. So is she basically trying to find him? I'm on page 150 with these messages.
Yes.
Texting him with any response from him at all?
Not that I'm seeing. Yeah, she's saying, baby boy, hello, where you at? Where the fuck you at? And then a bunch of question marks. What the fuck, Chris?
And that would be, again, what date was that?
That was the 3rd.
Okay. Did she, he eventually gave her an address on Woodlawn Road, is that
Yes.
correct? And that was early in the day on the 3rd, so would that have been prior to when Tim Bell came over and all that hoopla happened, where the 911 call, the dueling 911 calls?
Yes.
Okay. And on October the 5th, is she similarly sending messages to him on the 5th? Are they communicating on the 5th?
That one's on the 4th.
Oh, I'm sorry, these would be the 4th.
Yes.
Okay. She says here on the 5th it says the 5th at, what, 12:24, so that would really be the 4th at 8:24?
Yes.
I want some what?
DIKK, Daddy. Dick Daddy.
And what does he respond?
I want my car. Get us a fucking ride.
And what does she say back?
She says, we got one. He says, where? He says, who? And then, but that has nothing to do with what I fucking said. That's what Courtney says in reply.
In other words, she's saying, what does the car have to do with what I said I want to do to you?
Yes.
All right, and then he responds,
Because what you said can wait. She says, okay. She says, why you want to be mean to me and mad at me? We are supposed to stick together and work together as a fucking family, like we're doing. Shit takes time. And then she says, I love you, Daddy. He says, I love you, Mama.
now are they together on this date and time?
No.
Where's she at on the 5th, based on this investigation? Is she over at her dad's house on that day?
Yes, with the kids.
Isn't that the day that baby Kalia went on her last doctor's appointment?
Yes.
Again, on the 5th, are they, tell us what McNabb says, or excuse me, tell us what Courtney Love sends to him in the early morning hours of the 5th.
She starts off saying on this page, this is what you have been wanting, so go, be free, enjoy yourself, but just remember who has been there through thick and thin with you. Who would give their own fucking life if it meant you would live? So go and don't be a daddy anymore. It's okay, I'm strong. I'll make it without you. I just never wanted to have it to be without my baby's dad.
And then a little bit later, not even an hour later, at UTC time, 12:28, which would actually be 8:28 in the morning on the 5th, what does she say to him?
She says, I love you, Christopher Michael McNabb.
Eventually, does he respond to her?
Eventually. He says, I love you, Courtney Marie Bell. Don't you get it, though? You can be with our babies. I can't. Just listen to me. And how is it forever and a day when you said you didn't want to be with me anymore?
Does he eventually talk about the reason why he has left her?
Yes.
What does he say?
I left so you would go to our babies. That's all, and you're making it more than that. You always make it more than it is.
And what is she saying?
She says, I want my whole family together, not just me and our babies.
And so then what does he say to her?
He says, me too. So go there, take Callie to the doctor, go back, put them on the car, and come get me. Plain as that. Simple.
What car is he wanting her to get?
The PT Cruiser.
She ever say something to him about the car?
She did.
What did she say?
Well, she basically, I know at one point in time she tells him I got the car. They discussed getting the car, and she was saying she wasn't gonna. She wasn't sure how she was gonna get it out away from the house.
Was he giving her a plan of how she was supposed to do it?
Yes.
What was that? What was the problem?
Well, the car was at her dad, Tim Bell's house. So that was the problem, was being able to be there with everyone there and the kids, and then be able to get out of there with the car and be able to leave.
Did Tim Bell have the car blocked by his other PT Cruiser?
Yes.
Was McNabb not telling her, put the car in neutral, push that car, get her kids, and run and jump in the car?
Yes.
And these text messages here, where this one specifically, he's telling her what? The one
Yeah.
that says 11:49 UTC, which would be 7:49 a.m. on that day.
Yeah, you chose me over our kids, so that's where you put my heart.
And what does she say?
She says, no, I haven't at all. And
Before
he-
that, what did she say to him? I'm sorry, before the one
Oh.
that McNabb you read it that McNabb said.
Prior to that, she said, but I'll always love you. Till the day I die, I'll be in love with you. I'm just tired of you hitting on me and pushing me away when I know where your heart really is.
And on that same date at 12:36 UTC time, this text message here, which would be at 8:36 in the morning, what did she say to him?
Says, why? Why so you can continue fucking treat me like I'm nothing or nobody to you, calling me names, hitting on me, screaming at me. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't deserve that, Daddy.
And what is he telling her here on 13:12 is 1:12. So 4 hours behind that would be 11:12. No, that's not right. What, 10:12?
9/12, is it? Or
Yes, 9:12. 13 minus 4 is 9. Okay. What is he saying to her?
says you need to get them that car and come get me.
What does he tell her here at, again, 11:45 UTC time, which would be 7:45 that morning?
Go to my kids. Don't chase me around. If you chase me and not go to them, I'll never be with you again. I put that on our kids.
And then up here, she's basically telling him, I don't want to be with you anymore. Is that right?
Yes.
So these are just back and forth FaceTime fights 2 days before their baby's dead.
Yes.
And at some point in time, doesn't she say that's all you care about is that effing car?
Yes.
Now, on October 6th, I'm just showing you a few texts on the date of October or messages on October the 6th. They're talking about, who's this person, Cheese?
Yes.
Who is that?
It was a guy named Chance.
Okay. And so is there a discussion here about going to Meadowbrook and her going to pick him up, and can he bring Cheese along as well?
Yes.
And then on October the 6th, this would have been, this says 2:29, so if you back up, that's actually what, 10:29 on the 5th?
Yes.
And what is she telling him?
Don't go over there and smoke with me. I'm tired. I need it.
Does it say smoke with me or smoke without me?
Or smoke without me.
And then she says to him, what, just 30 seconds later, what?
Why didn't you even ask if I wanted to go?
So these are in the hours of the 5th leading into the 6th. She's complaining that he's left to go somewhere to smoke dope without her. Is that right?
Yes.
And is Meadowbrook one of the locations where they were smoking?
Yes.
Where all were they going in this period of time?
In that I can recall, I mean, it seemed like it was Woodlawn, Laurel Ridge, it was Meadowbrook Trailer Park, it was Cedar Grove Trailer Park, Eagle Point Mobile Home Park. The mobile home park, I can't remember the name now. It's over off behind Almond Road, or Old Atlanta. One on the other side of the interstate from Riverside. They were also at Riverside.
And did you learn that from not only reading all these Facebook records, but talking to Shane Kidd?
Yes.
do these Facebook records in terms of where they were going and who they were with, does that corroborate like Shane Kidd's version of going to Laurel Ridge, going to Meadowbrook, going to
Yes.
all these different addresses where they were going and just smoking dope every day for
Yes.
several days? All right, now I'm going to show you page 1218 of these records. On October the 6th, is there also a discussion about, and this would be on the bottom of this page, which is 12, I guess 17, it's coming, the author is Courtney, but it's Courtney telling Chris, we've got to clean the house has to be clean,
Yes.
and she's saying, so I can get our babies home.
Yes.
And again, there's a discussion about getting rides and Shane Kidd. And what does she tell him here?
So it gonna chase a bag and Shane and cheese instead of going to get ready for our babies to come home.
And so that would have been, again, it says 12:14, but 8:14 on the 6th. 8:14 p.m. on the 6th, she's telling McNabb, so you're going to go chase a bag. What does chase a bag mean in your experience?
Trying to get dope.
So you're going to go get dope with Shane and cheese instead of coming home to get our house ready for the babies.
Yes.
Now, again, I'm backing back up to the 5th again. When she's over at her dad's house, it's the defendant McNabb telling her that, what is he telling her about where she should stay? You read those text messages there?
Yeah, read all of them from the bottom.
No, just read them and then answer the general
Oh,
gist
sure.
of it. Like, what is he essentially telling her on the 5th when she's at her dad's house?
He's wanting Missy to come get him. She's asking how we're gonna pay the rent and the lights.
Yeah, and he's saying, might as well stay there because I can't get no money.
Yes. I don't know what you want me to say. I can't do shit. And that's from Chris.
Okay. And she's telling him in this general same conversation that their life has just begun with the kids. Don't do this to the kids.
Yes.
And this is the day that 2 days after the Bells come and they get the children. And McNabb says what to Courtney in this statement here that I'm pointing to?
Says my life is over. I love you. Take care of yourself and our babies. Sorry for all the pain and shit. I love you more than my life. I love you. I love all of you. Tell the Bells they win.
And then she tells him what? Above that.
They don't fucking win at all. We've going home with our babies.
Is it fair to say that Courtney is pretty insistent on making this situation work despite whatever the Bells may think of him and whatever he may think of the Bells?
Yes.
And the reason they're communicating during these couple of days is because he's out doing something, right?
Yes, he's out with other folks.
Now, are you aware of them sending text messages back and forth on the morning that the baby went missing?
Yes.
And how is it that they were able to do that?
It was on Facebook Messenger.
Okay, so I'm going to draw your attention to pages 12, 14, 12, 15. So after, we just saw the text messages on the night of the 6th where she's upset that he's going over there to smoke dope without bringing her. Those are the ones we just went over, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that would have been the night of the 6th, and I believe we said that would be roughly 10:30 p.m., those messages?
Yes.
Okay. Then there's this little, replacing her is easy, but getting someone to give you that same feeling she did is impossible, like what people commonly refer to as like a meme or something?
Yes.
And what time was that sent by Courtney to Chris?
It's at 12:23.
UTC time,
Eight.
so that you got to back up and then into the 6th and back it up 4 hours, that'd be 8:33
8:33.
p.m. Okay. Then the next text messages start on the actual 7th, right?
Yes.
And he sends her a message, at again 14:43. Backing that up, that would be 10:43 in the morning on the 7th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he says what?
I'm looking everywhere. Have y'all got a clue yet?
And what does she say in response?
She says no, on phone with 911.
And then what does he say next?
Baby, I can't go to jail when my baby is missing.
And then what does he say again after that? That would have been, what, 50 seconds, 49 seconds later?
It says, what the fuck did we do to deserve this shit? There was a call.
Now, presumably, where is he, based on the timeline that he's provided in all three of his statements, where is he at when he's sending her these messages?
He's in the woods. He's on the trail or down Henderson Mill Road. Further away from the Highway 36.
All right, and then on October the 7th, again, following up after it appears that there was an attempt to make a phone call by him to her. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when it says missed, true, that means that it was a missed call?
Yes.
All right, and then at 10:49, what does she say to him?
They want to know where you are, Daddy.
And then what does he say in response? Because presumably she's talking about the police, right?
Yes.
And what does he say in response?
What the fuck am I supposed to do? Are they there? For so, I'm on the way. If they there, I'm on the way back.
So now we're at 10:51. And at 10:52, what does she say to him? I guess I should go this way.
Can you clear the screen?
Yes, sir. I put something on there. Okay, go ahead. What does she say here?
They are here, baby.
Talking about the police.
Yes.
And what does he say?
Says, I'm coming.
And then she says next, what?
Hurry up, Daddy. Come on. Or come on.
Okay,
Come
so
on.
the difference between the message where he says, I'm coming, and they're here, that's at 10:52, 10:54, and then it's already now rolled into like 11:04, and she's saying, hurry up.
Yes.
What's the next message that she sends to him?
Well, these here that say author, that shows who's actually writing or attempting the call
And
or
all of these
causing
say
that
phone
thread.
calls, is that correct?
Yes, that's where it's calling.
And the last time that she tries to call him is like 11:19 in the morning.
Yes.
And the next message he sends her, UTC time, 16:57, which is 4:57. So again, going back, that would be about 12:57 p.m.
Yes.
That would have been when they were at the sheriff's office being interviewed or en route.
Yes.
And what does he say to her?
I love you. We will get through this. She says back, I love you, Daddy. We got to find her. I just don't understand.
And then hours later, again, 7:43 UTC time, which would be backing up 3:43 at the sheriff's office. Does he send her text messages?
Yes, he's
Please.
wanting to know, are you okay?
And what did she say?
She says, yeah, ready to go home and find our baby.
Did you review all the reports in connection with this case?
I did.
Did you ever see on a body cam or see in an interview where Chris McNabb went trailer to trailer in that park looking for his child?
No.
Now, did you have the opportunity to see what Mr. McNabb looked like shortly after he was arrested in 2017?
Yes,
Did he have tattoos on his face at that time?
he did.
And you've obviously seen him here in the courtroom during this trial. Does he have more tattoos on his face now than he did then?
Yes, he does.
And specifically, has he added any tattoos that are noticeable on his face?
Yes.
And what is that?
Well, I've noticed the newer tattoos underneath his eyes. Looks like big, drenching, crying tears over his left eye, the Kalia.
Did he have Kalia tattooed on his forehead before she was found dead in the woods on October the 8th?
No.
Now, did you have the opportunity in this case, are you familiar with what's called pay-tel communications?
Yes.
Tell the members of the jury what that is.
It's the phone company that the jail uses currently to make the phone calls. That also is the way that basically, I guess it's an account-based company where each individual inmate has an account.
Okay. And so, since you've worked at the jail, are you familiar with whether or not inmates are allowed to make phone calls from the jail outside of the jail?
Yes.
And do they, is it required to have like money, so to speak, on the books so that you can make these phone calls? Or are they being charged for the calls?
Yes, they're being charged for the call. It's money on your books, or it's even family can put money on the PayTel account.
Can you make collect calls too?
Yes.
Okay. And all of those calls at the jail reported as a normal, routine course of business?
Yes.
And are the inmates all advised of that upon being booked in at the jail, that their calls are going to be recorded?
Yes.
And are they advised of that even on the phone call? Say I were to be in the jail and I wanted to call so-and-so, would the calling
The
software
automated-
tell basically me, hey, this call is going to be recorded
Yes.
and subject to monitoring at any time?
That's correct.
And is that on every single call that is made by an inmate at the jail?
Yes.
And do they have a code that they have to punch in
Yes.
order to be able to make a call?
Yes.
And is that code specifically set up so that they can't use somebody else's code? They have to use their own code to make their phone calls?
Yes.
And then is there tracking software that not only records the call, but tracks every call that's made by an inmate?
Yes.
And so if I wanted to go to the Newton County Jail today, or even just upstairs to our office, and grab a computer and log into the system, could I look at all the calls that Beau Alexander made this week in the jail to anybody?
Yes.
Can you also search by, if I was concerned that this particular person on the outside of the jail with this phone number might be being contacted by somebody in the jail, can you search by the number that's being called?
Yes.
And have you had the opportunity in this case to review calls that were reported between Mr. McNabb and Cortney Bell in October of 2017 and also in December of 2017?
Yes.
And do they fairly and accurately record those calls?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd offer State's Exhibit number 130, which is an October 20th, 17 phone call into evidence.
Just submit without objection.
I also have State's Exhibit 131, which would be transcripts of the same.
Okay.
I'd offer State's Exhibit number 132, which is a phone call from December the 11th, 2017, between the parties.
Objection.
Just submit without objection.
And I've got a transcript for the record as well, which would be State's Exhibit number 133. Can I publish the first call, Judge?
After your hands, you want these transcripts handed out?
Yes, Judge.
I'll get that, she'd have to hand them out first. Again, don't read these transcripts until we get to that point. And once you tell me everybody's got one, are we missing one up here? We need the next one up here. Wait, we got it. We got the extra one. Okay, is everybody ready? Let's play the,
Judge, for the record, I am going to skip past the, where the inmate punches in the code numbers, so I'll tell you exactly where it starts when they says, you may begin speaking now on page 2.
page 2.
This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. You may begin speaking now.
Baby,
Yeah.
what's up, man? You don't love me no more, huh?
I love you with everything inside me, but what happened? What you did?
Did you think that I did this shit for real?
I'm not gonna get this stuff.
I don't know, Courtney, but you can't be living your life like that. You can't think that I did this shit. That's not right, Courtney.
I don't care what else to say. There was nobody else in the house. I was asleep, so what did you say?
Baby, I didn't do it. Please don't fucking think I did this, baby. I did not do it. I swear to God I didn't do it.
And who did?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. I've been going, man, baby, I'm going through a lot of fucking shit. I had my ass beat in here by these folks. I've been tased. I'm going through a lot of shit, baby, but I'm trying to tell you some real shit. I did not fucking do this, Courtney. I told you before I got arrested I did not do it. Please don't fucking leave me, baby. Please don't turn your back on me, please. I swear to God I didn't do it, man. Why would I do something like that, Courtney?
Please tell me I asked him, I'll take the same motherfucking thing.
What? What'd you say?
I said, I asked him, I'll take the same motherfucking thing.
I can't hear you, baby. You're talking too loud. You're talking too aggressive. I can't understand what you're saying.
Well, what do you expect me to do?
I don't know, but where are you at? Are you all right?
I don't want you to know on that.
You don't want me to know where you're at.
No, I do not. I can't let anyone know on that.
Okay, well, I don't have to know where you're at. Are you okay?
I'm never going to be okay. My father's dead. She was telling me he was dead.
Yeah, I know this, Courtney. You don't have to tell me that. No.
And nobody broke into my house and killed my baby in front of the wood strip.
Nobody broke in to begin with. So you really think I did this shit? If you really think I did it, hang up right now.
What do you mean nobody broke in to begin with? So you took her out with someone?
No, I didn't take her out. The door was unlocked. I told you this. I picked me out. They got caretaker for 6 hours, Courtney. 6 hours.
I'm not supposed to talk to you, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for this.
I don't know what I'm getting in trouble for, but I'm trying to tell you that I didn't do it. Who told you not to talk to me? Because they hadn't told me that.
My lawyer.
You're a lawyer?
For DTAF, yes.
Man, that DTAF lawyer ain't got nothing to do with this stuff.
Yes, he has. He can take my child from me.
Huh? Have you seen Richard?
I'm not allowed to see Rissa.
You're not allowed to see Richard.
No, I'm not.
It's not fucking fair. I didn't do it, Courtney. I swear to God I didn't do it.
I don't know what to do, Chris. But I know I was fucking asleep and I woke up and my baby's fucking gone.
Yeah, I was asleep with you. You don't seem to remember that, do you?
Not my what some kids said, not my what everybody else said, and not my what everybody else said.
What in the hell are you talking about what everybody else said? Who is everybody else?
At 38 o'clock that morning and said Clay was missing.
Who?
Shane, your best friend Shane, said you talked to him at 7:30, 8 o'clock and said Khalil was missing.
No, I did not text him at 7:30 or 8:30. I did not text him at 7:30 or 8:30. I texted him after Bristol woke us up. I was standing in the middle of the living room texting on my phone. Do you not remember that? I was freaking out.
There's something me and Corey Bell for something that she done turned into the police. That they got crazy and sit around everybody.
What?
Your messages with Courtney Bell was as they have screenshotted and sit around everybody too. So you're that.
Screenshotted what? I was up. Like, for a I can't understand what you're saying.
A conversation about meeting her.
I said something about if I ever met her face to face, that we would talk about who all that I knew that she knew. That was the only thing that I said to her. I didn't say nothing about actually, huh?
At 9.
What?
At 9!
No, it was not at 9.
It says the screenshot. It says the
I
9.
wasn't up at 9, but you really fucking think I did this shit. I can't believe you think I did this.
I don't know what else you want me to say. I don't know what else I'm supposed to say.
I know one thing. This is probably going to be the last time you're going to hear from me for a long time. If this is the way you want to remember our relationship, then I guess that's what it's going to be. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this is fucking me up. I miss you, man. I miss you so motherfucking much, and I love you so fucking much, and I can't believe that you can actually fucking sit here and tell me that you think I did this shit, man.
I don't know what I'm supposed to believe, Chris.
I'm
My
telling
daddy
you.
was found dead in the woods that under the wall.
Now you tell me why the fuck I would do that. Why would you think I would do that?
Tell me.
That's our baby, Courtney.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying.
So what the fuck? Why are you being so hostile towards me? I can't believe this shit, man. Out of everybody in the world, I would expect you would have my back before anybody.
And I did. Up until you got out of that fucking car at that red light.
You told me to get out. Courtney, all y'all told me. When somebody calls your phone, Courtney, saying they found our daughter dead and that I did it, she said I did it. She said I did it like fucking 30 times. What? Your Aunt Kim, when she called that phone before I got out of that car, she kept saying that I did it. Chris did it, Courtney. Chris did it. What the fuck was I supposed to do? Obviously somebody was telling her I done it. Somebody was in her ear saying I did it.
That's your bag.
What?
Your bag.
In my bag?
Yep.
What about my bag?
You was found in your bag.
What are you talking about, my bag? She was found in my bag. What bag? I haven't heard, these folks ain't telling me nothing, Courtney. I don't even know how she got it.
I didn't have to talk to you.
What?
I have to talk to you. They're not letting
Who?
me. The detective.
They don't have any say-so on whether you can talk to me or not. If you're not being charged with a crime, you can come up here. You can come up here and see me. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., you can come see me. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., you can
When
come.
somebody tells me what happened to my baby, I'll come see you.
What?
When somebody tells me what happened to my child, I'll come see you.
How am I supposed to know? Do you think I'm not trying to figure it out? Boy, don't sit here looking at life without parole or a possible death sentence, baby. Don't do this to me.
I know.
Man, I love you with all my heart, Courtney, man. Please don't fucking do this to me.
The world is attacking me saying that I was involved with you.
Who said that? What would them motherfuckers say? I know you didn't do it. I can't hear you. What? Please tell you what happened. So you really honestly think I'm sitting here lying to you?
Okay, so if you say someone came into a home, then you didn't need to be telling them a list of people.
I am. My deal is. Y'all got it.
They
That's
tell me
the list. I'm the deal. Y'all got the fucking list, Courtney. Y'all got the list. Y'all got the list. I said some stuff, but when I came out of them woods on my own, I might add, I came out of them woods on my own, Courtney. I came out of them goddamn woods and went to that Chevron, and I made a statement in that Chevron and said, y'all motherfuckers see me get locked up. But what they're gonna all be saying about why I'm locked up is not what's going on. I said, so basically I went in there and told them folks to go ahead and call the police and tell them where I was at so they could come get me. Alright, the fucking folks came and got me. They took me in the same fucking room I was in the first day when they interrogated me and started asking me questions. When they asked me about that new Facebook that I made, do you remember when we were still awake and I made a new Facebook under kind of the same name that the other one was made under, but a little different? You remember that?
You're being so yeah.
Okay, well, it was fucking at 5:34 in the morning. Well, I didn't know that. Because you were still awake when I made that Facebook, because I showed it to you. You remember that, right? And then we fucked right after that. Okay? So, what I'm trying to say is, them folks kept trying to fucking like, they were throwing things at me that was trying to confuse what I was telling them. You see what I'm saying? When they were ganging up on me, Courtney, they were basically sitting there fucking saying shit like, they knew I did it. They're basically telling me they know I done it. So I said, fuck it, and I hit the tape. They were fucking, goddamn, what the fuck am I supposed to do, Courtney? I told them everything I knew, and they kept trying to change my shit up. They kept trying to ask me the same questions in different ways to get me to give them different answers. I told them everything I knew, baby. We made them lists. We made those fucking lists. I don't know who got those lists, but those are the fucking names that I remember, me and you both.
Chris, and you already don't come in our house. Take our baby and then ramble through our house looking for things of ours to put in the bag with her. What's that?
They days of hours. I don't understand. See, you're telling me a bunch of stuff. I haven't heard anything. All I know is my lawyer said that she got hit in the head with something. That's all I know. I don't know where she was found, how she was found, or none of that. I haven't been told any of that, Courtney. You know more than I do. You're out there. Man, this shit.
I don't know much more.
I'm telling you I didn't do it, Courtney. If you can't fucking trust that, then I don't know what to fucking say, baby. I know me and you've been through a lot of shit, and I've done a lot of things, but I wouldn't do this. I would not do this, Courtney. You gotta believe me, baby. I would not fucking do this. I'm telling you the truth, Courtney. I didn't do it, baby. Courtney,
What?
I love you.
I always love you, but I want to know what happened to my baby.
Well, we got to work together to figure it out. I can't do this by myself. I'm locked up. You're in a better position than I am.
Somewhere to kill me.
What?
There's nothing I can do out here. People want to kill me.
Man, ain't nobody gonna fucking kill you, man.
Okay, I can't even go inside the store quick me now.
Why can't you?
I'm gonna get trapped.
You keep going in the stores, Gordon. You ain't got nothing to be afraid of. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing to you.
Every store I have been in, somebody comes up to me. I ain't even gonna.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand you don't want to deal with that. I understand that. But what I'm telling you is,
People tell me that somebody's gonna give you one way or the other, either it's gonna be them or the dope that don't give them.
well, do the fucking dope then.
Okay, so who's gonna get me? Who's gonna do it? I don't have anything to do with
So
it.
basically, you've been out there, you've been ducked off somewhere. I don't know where you're at. Don't nobody know where you're at. You're out there just doing drugs and shit. You ain't worried about me in here about to lose my life.
I'm done. I don't know where to live. You understand? I'm not so home. I know home.
I'm about to lose my life.
Me too.
And you don't even give a fuck. You got somewhere you can go. You just called them and asked for money one time, and when they said no, you didn't fucking call them no more. But you got somewhere you can go. Believe that.
Well, I'll be going to work then.
What?
I'm not allowed to go to the Bell's house. That's my work state.
I ain't talking about them. You called my daddy, you called Crystal and asked for money. They said no, and they ain't heard from you no more since then. Call Crystal and tell her you need somewhere to fucking go. Go to Tennessee.
Tell the Tennessee court looks like I'm guilty.
Go to Tennessee, Courtney. You ain't running from nothing. They ain't charged you with shit.
No, they're charging you by the day.
No, no shit. I ain't gonna be able to call you back no more after this unless you can put some money on the phone or something.
Well, I can't put my money on the phone. I'm not looking guilty.
You're not looking guilty. I'm gonna tell you, but if I tell my dad to put money on the phone, you won't answer my phone call?
Come on.
No. You might as well just tell me you don't love me, Courtney, because that's what you're doing right now. You're breaking my heart. You're breaking my heart telling me you don't love me. That's
I want to know what happens to my baby girl.
I want to know too. I want to know too. She's my baby too, goddammit.
Yeah, I know. So I don't understand.
Yeah, we don't understand what he's doing.
Calm yourself down. Friday, October.
You're right. Take them back up.